One of the most revealing things a man does when he's truly crazy about you is how deeply his attention focuses on you. It's not the kind of attention that's loud or showy. It's quiet, subtle, but incredibly powerful. When a man is genuinely interested, he isn't just hearing the words you say. He's absorbing everything about you, almost like he's collecting little pieces of who you are and tucking them away somewhere safe in his mind. Think about the way someone acts when they're distracted or bored. Your words might just be background noise, right? But with someone who's crazy about you, it's completely different. You'll catch him leaning in just a bit closer, his eyes not wandering, but locked onto you. And there's this intensity that's unmistakable. It's as if you're the only person in the room, and for those moments, you really are. That kind of attention is a powerful signal because it shows he's fully present with you, and that presence is rare and precious. What's fascinating is how this attention manifests in the little things he remembers. Have you ever noticed that sometimes men can surprise you by recalling the tiniest details you didn't even think you mentioned? Maybe you told him in passing about your favorite ice cream flavor or a book you wanted to read or a song you liked, and weeks later, he brings it up. He might send you a message about that book or show up with your favorite treat, almost like a silent way of saying, I've been thinking about you. Now, this isn't about grand gestures or over-the-top surprises. It's the quiet, thoughtful moments that really speak volumes, because when a man truly cares, his brain works differently around you. He's actively paying attention, not just because it's polite or because he's trying to impress you, but because he wants to know who you are, your likes, your dislikes, your quirks, your stories. It's as if you're fascinating to him, and he's hungry to understand every little piece. This kind of attention is a form of emotional investment. It's a way for him to connect beyond surface level conversations and into something more meaningful. And it's why you might notice he remembers something you mentioned even when you don't expect it, and brings it up later at a moment when it feels just right. That's not accidental. It's a subconscious way of saying, you matter to me. Here's the thing. This focused attention also means he's mentally prioritizing you. Life is busy, distractions are everywhere, and yet, when a man is crazy about you, he finds space in his mind for you despite everything else. He might be juggling work stress, his own worries, or other commitments, but you still hold a place of importance in his thoughts. That's not something anyone can fake for long because it requires real emotional energy. You might even find that when you speak, he doesn't just listen with his ears, but with his entire body. He picks up on your tone, your mood shifts, your energy levels, because he wants to understand how you're feeling, not just what you're saying. That's part of why it feels so different when someone is truly into you, because they're not just checking off boxes in a conversation. They're trying to feel the rhythm of who you are. This subtle attention also helps him build trust with you. When you see that he remembers your stories, your dreams, your fears, you start to feel seen and understood. That feeling of being truly seen is foundational in any relationship. It's where comfort and connection begin. And because he's doing this naturally and without pressure, it creates a safe emotional space for you to be yourself without masks or pretenses. Another layer of this attention is how it makes you feel noticed in a way that's deeply affirming. You know that feeling when someone looks at you like you're special, not just physically, but on a deeper level. That's the kind of focus I'm talking about. It's a silent message that says, I see you for who you are, and I like what I see. And it's not about flattery or shallow compliments. It's about genuine recognition. This attention often shows itself in small acts too. Maybe he remembers your favorite way to unwind after a stressful day and suggests doing that together. Or he tunes in when you're having a rough time and offers just the right kind of support, not because he's trying to fix things, but because he's paying close enough attention to know what you really need. That kind of awareness comes from being emotionally present, which again is a clear sign of how much he values you. And if you ever find yourself wondering if a man's interest is real or just fleeting, look for this kind of focused attention. It's not always flashy and it's not always obvious, but it's consistent. It's the little reminders that you're on his mind, even when you're not together. It's the way he listens, not just to reply, but to understand. Because when a man is crazy about you, his mind and heart are fully engaged, and that kind of focus is one of the clearest ways he shows it. So, when you notice these moments, the way he leans in when you talk, remembers the smallest details, or just seems genuinely tuned into your world, know that this is him quietly but unmistakably saying, you are important to me. If you want, I can continue expanding the other points in the same natural and engaging style. Would you like that? Something really fascinating happens when a man is genuinely into you, and you might not even realize you're experiencing it in the moment. It's this subtle, almost instinctive behavior called mirroring. Basically, without even thinking about it, he starts to copy the way you move, the way you talk, your gestures, even your energy. And this isn't some calculated trick or manipulation. It's his brain's way of saying, I want to connect with you on a deeper level. Have you ever noticed how, when you're with someone you feel comfortable with, you kind of start to sync up? Maybe you find yourselves laughing at the same time, or your body language starts to align. That's mirroring at work. It's a natural psychological response because humans are wired to create connection and report this way. When someone's really into you, this happens almost automatically. It's like a dance where you both move in harmony without having to talk about it. This mirroring can be as simple as matching your posture. If you lean forward, he leans forward. If you cross your arms, he might do the same. Or it might be more subtle, like matching the speed of your speech or the tone of your voice. And here's the kicker, you don't even have to be aware it's happening for it to have a huge impact on how close you feel. Your subconscious picks up on it and registers, wow, this person really gets me. What makes this so powerful is that it creates a sense of safety and belonging. When someone mirrors you, your brain perceives them as being similar to you, and similarity naturally breeds comfort. It's why we often feel drawn to people who are like us, because their energy feels familiar and easy. So when a man starts to subtly match your mannerisms, it's a way of saying, I want to be on your wavelength. I want us to be in sync. And here's something else: mirroring isn't just about body language. It can extend into the way he communicates with you. For example, if you speak softly, he might lower his voice a bit to match your tone. If you use certain words or phrases, he might start adopting them too, almost like your own personal echo. This kind of subconscious mimicry is his mind's way of creating connection without having to force it. It also means he's paying close attention to you, so close, in fact, that he's picking up on your subtle habits and rhythms. And that's a big deal, because it's not easy to keep that level of attunement going unless you genuinely want to be present with someone. It's a sign of deep interest, not casual curiosity. Another thing to notice about this is how it affects the flow of conversation. When mirroring happens, conversations tend to feel smoother, easier, almost effortless. You might find yourself finishing each other's sentences or falling into the same rhythm when talking. That ease is a signal that your energies are aligning. It's like your brains are communicating on a level beyond words. And that creates a magnetic pull between you. Now, this mirroring can sometimes be so subtle, you might not consciously register it but trust me, it's happening and it's important because it's a psychological shortcut that helps build trust and emotional intimacy. When your body language and speech patterns sync, it reduces social tension, making you both feel more comfortable and understood. What's truly beautiful about this is that it's a two-way street. When a man mirrors you, it's a way of showing vulnerability and openness. He's lowering his defenses and saying, I want to connect with you. I want us to understand each other. And that vulnerability invites you to do the same, creating a safe emotional space where both of you can be authentic. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel an unspoken closeness with a man, look out for these signs. Maybe he's leaning in when you do, or he's picked up on your favorite slang or expressions. Maybe the way he moves around you feels like a reflection of your own energy. These aren't coincidences. They're his unconscious way of expressing how deeply he's tuned into you. And here's the thing, this mirroring often happens early on, even before words like, I like you, or I'm interested, come out. It's a way his body speaks before his mouth does. So if you catch these subtle echoes, you're witnessing the language of attraction in its purest form. One final note, because mirroring is so natural and instinctive, it can't be faked for long. It's not something someone can force without feeling uncomfortable or disconnected. When it happens authentically, it means the connection is real and his feelings are genuine. So, when you want to understand how a man feels about you, pay attention to how he moves and speaks around you. The way he mirrors your energy is a window into how much he's craving connection, how much he's crazy about you, without having to say a word. Would you like me to keep going with the other points in this style? There's something really special about the way a man shows he's crazy about you through playful teasing. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't about being mean or putting you down. It's a kind of light-hearted banter, a dance of words that, on the surface, might look like he's joking or poking fun, but underneath it all, it's one of the most effective ways to build chemistry and connection. Why? Because teasing is a way for him to break the ice without feeling too vulnerable. When a man really likes someone, opening up emotionally can feel risky. So instead of coming in heavy with a confession or putting his feelings right on the table, he'll start with something a little more playful, something that tests the waters while still keeping things fun. It's a way to flirt without the pressure, and it creates an atmosphere where both of you can relax and enjoy each other's company. You might notice that this teasing is often tailored just to you. It's not random or mean-spirited. It's specific to something unique about your personality or something you said. Maybe he teases you about how seriously you take your coffee order, or the way you get competitive over a silly game. Those little jabs aren't accidents. They're signs he's paying attention and finding ways to engage with your quirks in a way that's affectionate, not critical. What's interesting about this kind of teasing is that it's a form of connection that can be incredibly intimate. When a man teases you, he's trying to spark a reaction from you, not to offend, but to see if you get his sense of humor, if you can play along, if you understand the little dance he's inviting you into. It's a way of building rapport and signaling I'm interested in you, and I want us to have a unique language together. And here's the beauty of it, teasing creates an emotional roller coaster that keeps things exciting. It adds a bit of tension, but in a fun way, where you're both curious and engaged. It's why you might catch yourself smiling or laughing even when he's making fun of something silly about you. Because underneath the teasing, there's affection and a desire to connect. Also, playful teasing is a way for him to show he's comfortable with you. It means he's lowering his guard and being a bit cheeky because he feels safe enough to joke around. If a man only acts serious or formal with you, it could mean he's still holding back. But when he teases you, it's a sign that he's letting his guard down and showing a side of himself that's relaxed and fun. You might also notice how his teasing changes depending on how well he knows you. At the beginning, it might be lighter and more surface level, something easy and silly. But as he gets to know you better, the teasing can become more personal and nuanced, reflecting the deeper layers of your relationship. That's a great sign because it means he's paying attention and adapting to you, wanting to create a unique bond that's just between the two of you. There's a psychological element here too. When a man teases you in a playful way, he's inviting you to respond, to laugh, to tease back, to engage in this back and forth. That exchange creates a dynamic that's different from ordinary conversations. It becomes a game where both of you are involved, and that's often how attraction and chemistry grow. It's a safe space to be spontaneous and show your personality in a way that's both fun and revealing. It's important to recognize that this teasing is very different from criticism or negativity. If teasing ever feels hurtful or demeaning, that's a red flag. But genuine, playful teasing always has an undercurrent of warmth and affection. It's meant to build you up, not tear you down. Sometimes this teasing can even be his way of expressing interest without risking rejection. Instead of saying, "I like you," he might say something teasingly sarcastic like, "Oh, you think you're the best at everything?" And in that sarcasm, there's a challenge and an invitation to engage. It's a low-risk way of showing he's thinking about you and wants to connect. And here's something else to watch for. When a man teases you, he often watches your reaction closely. If you laugh or smile, it encourages him to keep going. If you respond playfully, he feels like he's found someone who gets him. But if you seem uncomfortable or don't respond, he might back off, showing that he's sensitive to your boundaries. So the next time you notice a man teasing you in a playful, light-hearted way, take it as a good sign. It means he's interested, he's paying attention, and he's trying to create a connection that's fun and real. He's giving you a glimpse into how he feels without laying everything on the line right away. And that teasing is the start of something much deeper. Because ultimately, playful teasing is more than just jokes. It's the foundation for a relationship that's not only passionate but joyful. And that joy, it's the spark that keeps two people coming back to each other time and time again. Would you like me to expand on the next key point now? When a man is truly crazy about you, one of the most telling signs is how naturally he steps into a role of protectiveness and support. And I don't mean this in some outdated, macho way. It's not about him trying to control or dominate, but rather about him showing up in small, meaningful ways that say, "I'm here for you." This is one of those things that speaks louder than words because it reveals how much he values your well-being and happiness, often without you even having to ask. You might notice it in the little things first. Maybe he notices when you're having a tough day and sends a quick message just to check in. Or perhaps he offers to help with something you didn't even realize you needed help with, like carrying your bags or making sure you get home safely. These small acts might seem simple on the surface, but they're powerful because they come from a place of genuine care. What's important here is that this protectiveness isn't about grand gestures designed to impress others. It's private, quiet, and consistent. When a man really cares, he pays attention to what makes you feel safe and supported, and he steps in without hesitation. That could mean standing up for you if someone speaks badly about you. Or it could mean being the person you can count on when life throws a curveball. Either way, it shows a level of emotional investment that goes beyond casual interest. There's something deeply comforting about this kind of support because it creates a foundation of trust. When you feel that someone is actively looking out for you, it naturally lowers your defenses and makes it easier to open up emotionally. And this is key because relationships that thrive aren't just about passion or attraction. They're about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. This protectiveness is like the emotional cushion that catches you when you need it most. You might also find that he becomes more attentive to your needs without you having to spell everything out. He learns your routines and understands your stresses and anticipates ways to make your life easier or happier. This kind of attentiveness is a sign that he's not just interested in who you are right now, but in your well-being over the long haul. And what's interesting is that this support often comes at a personal cost. Maybe he sacrifices time or convenience because he knows it will mean a lot to you. That willingness to put your needs alongside his own isn't something every man does, and it's a huge indicator of how seriously he takes his feelings for you. When a man is crazy about you, your happiness becomes part of his priorities. You might see this in moments when he protects your emotional space too. For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed or vulnerable, he might be the one who listens patiently without judgment. Who offers comfort instead of solutions, who holds space for your feelings without trying to rush you through them. That kind of emotional support is rare and precious because it shows he respects your process and wants to be there for you. Not just when things are easy, but especially when they're hard. What's also worth noting is how this protectiveness can manifest in his actions around others. He might be subtle, but clear in showing he respects you, defending you in conversations, making sure you're treated well, or simply standing by your side in social situations. These actions show that he's proud to be with you and willing to stand up for you if needed. And here's the thing, this kind of protectiveness isn't about control. It's about partnership. It's about saying, I've got your back, in a way that's empowering rather than limiting. It's a balance of strength and gentleness that creates a safe space for both of you to grow and thrive together. This support also tends to deepen over time. Early on, it might be small gestures, but as the relationship grows, so does his willingness to be there in bigger ways. Maybe he starts thinking about your future together, offering reassurance when things feel uncertain, or helping you through challenges that seem overwhelming. That kind of steadfast support is a sign of real commitment and affection. It's important to pay attention to these moments because they reveal much about his heart. Words can be easy to say, but consistent acts of care and protection take effort, empathy, and true feeling. When you notice him showing up for you again and again, it's a sign that you matter deeply to him. And if you ever question whether someone's feelings are real, look to these moments of support and protectiveness. They are the silent promises made through actions rather than speeches. They show you what he's willing to invest emotionally and practically in your life. So, when a man takes the time to be there for you, in ways big and small, when he protects your emotional and physical space without hesitation, and when he supports you even when it's inconvenient or challenging, that's when you know he's crazy about you.